Hello and good evening. Welcome to Shambhavi Spectrum Cheer the Champ series. I have the fluid Akshita with me here. And I say fluid because I know that she has dance movements as well as physics in her repertoire. So let us talk to Akshita today. Good evening, Akshita. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hello, how are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm good. Thank you for finding the time. And tell me something more about yourself.
I'm a year 12 student. I go to EISJ, but other than that, I recently completed my fifth year as a dance student and as a Kathak classical Indian student. And being a fifth year graduate means that I have completed high school essentially in the dance world. And I've now been given the opportunity to teach younger kids in the same institution I go to. I
Wait, let
learned
me congratulate you. Please, let me congratulate you. Great achievement. And this is away from the school. So today we are cheering you for that. And when you say 5 years, does it count the number of hours that you've done? Or what is the system when you say
no.
5 years? Tell me
So
more, Akshita.
I say 5 years. I've been dancing since I was around 5 years old, essentially. Yeah. And I've been learning under Guru Ketaki Hazra. And she has taught me from a very, very young age. Actually, I wanted to enroll when I was 3 years old. Um, but my mother was scared that my knees wouldn't be able to handle strong dance movements. So we waited another 2 years. And within those 2 years, I would go every week. And I remember sitting on her living room, like sitting on the floor of her living room and watching like other kids dance. And I just like watched them dance for 2 years. So that was my introduction to Kathak.
So the moves just from your brain and your eyes transferred themselves into your hands and legs after 2 years. Yeah, 2 years is a very long time to be watching. And so, does it mean that your guru was living closer to where you were, and that kind of helped you?
Yeah, so my guru she lives close by, and we used to go. Uh, Actually, my guru she can't actually dance and she can't walk, and she met with an accident a good 10, 15 years ago. Uh, sorry, 25 years ago. But um, she still continued to teach, and she's always said that her students are the feet she misses. So she's always instilled the fact that, dance is within you, and dance is a part of your expression. Um, and no matter where you are, you can still continue this.
That's so wonderful, and God bless her. And in fact, just not that apart from being herself as a dancer, but giving the legacy to so many students, I think that is really that deserves a good round of applause. And if I had the thing, I would do that. Please convey my respects to her. And so the 5 years you were telling me, and you started when you were five, and then how
Mhm.
did the 5 years happen? Tell me that.
5 years happened very progressively. So what happens is that you have a certain age to give the exam and to pass every year. And essentially what happens if you're younger, then you have to give your assessment in parts. So part one and then part two. So I say 5 years, but they're just five exams. In reality, it's a good 10 years of learning. Yes.
Right. Very interesting. And so these do these exams comprise of the practical aspect as well as theory aspect, or what are you expected
Yeah.
to actually
So
do?
in the younger years, what happens is that you're building confidence and you're building leg work, you're building your movement, and because our bodies haven't fully developed yet, so a lot of the steps are considered harder and they don't look right sometimes. Like in hindsight, a lot of steps don't look right, but we realize that our bodies haven't developed for these steps to look right. So in the younger years, you're more focused on practical and getting those steps right and getting those movements very, the technical aspects of your dance. As you get older, focus is more on both, and you have to excel at both. to understand and have a whole comprehensive view about the dance form, right? I think a lot of contemporary dance forms do focus more on practicality and movement and step and expression, and that's all good. But in Indian classical dance, a lot of where our steps have come from are lineage based and historical, and they come from a lot of traditions and cultures. And if we don't understand that, then we can't express it. So it's important to know both.
Good point that you brought up, because I was going to ask you, the next question is that what is the role of language and understanding of the culture as such? So have you learned any language specifically, or have you read literature on that? How did you develop the understanding of the
So
dance?
I started off, well, I know Hindi and Bengali, and my guru is also Bengali. So we had common ground, common language, and language has never been a problem in that sense. But I've always given my exams in English. So the translations through English, a lot of things have been difficult to understand because when you're writing classical bowls, they're originally written in either Sanskrit, Hindi, Bengali, they're translated. So when you're writing the same things in English, English only has, I would say, like the sounds produced in Hindi versus the sounds in English are completely different. So
Different.
producing that same thing in writing is always more difficult. I think that was a main pointer, especially when writing things, saying things. You can switch between languages and people still comprehend you because they also know the same languages. I think that's where a lot of books came in handy. That's where a lot of that's how I got to know a lot of current Kathak dancers. Yeah.
So does it mean that your exam component also required you to know about the dancers and what the history, or what the like the lineage that you? So do you have a gharana? I should have asked you that earlier on. Do you have a
Yes,
gharana?
I do have a gharana. I study the Lucknow gharana. I'm part of the Lucknow gharana. I specifically do Darbari, but I've also done Natwari bowls. And brief description about what I'm talking about. Basically, Darbari is the Kathak that used to be performed in courtrooms and in the Mughal era, and it was very prevalent in the Mughal era, especially Lucknow Gharana. Jaipur Gharana is similar to Lucknow Gharana in the sense of bowls. It has more complex tal, a little less expressive, but it has a very strong base. And Natwari is what we call like dancing for the gods. It's very distinctive style, completely different from Darbari.
All right. So that's something I've just learned today, and thank you for that. Tell me, what was the role of music in all this? Did you learn music, or do you sing?
I sing, but not. I wouldn't classify myself a singer, but I can hold a pitch. Is what I'm going to say.
No, so
So
my focus is on the, yeah. So I wanted to know about the singing for
sing
the
part.
dance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So songs obviously are very important, especially when you start to dabble in performances. And how am I going to convey a very traditional classical dance form to a big audience? That's where a lot of songs have come in. That's where a lot of Bengali culture has also come in, because our guru has always I think a way she has taught us to, sit tal in real life applications was based on Rabindra Sangeet, and that's basically Rabindranath Tagore's legacy.
Yeah,
And
we
a
can
lot of
see
the
the
songs,
can you see the picture
yes,
behind?
I can see half the picture, yes.
Okay, so maybe I should just adjust it just a little bit so you can see better
Yes,
now.
yes. So
Yes.
we've danced a lot on his songs, and his songs have been a great influence on how we dance, how we perceive tal in something that's not just Kathak or not just the bowls, something that we can apply to.
Okay. So that's and then you said, so it's like 10 years actually, and you've given these exams, and now you said that you are you have the permission and the authority now that you can be a teacher, right? So you can teach people this.
Yes.
Is that right? So tell me more about your how or why did you decide to become a teacher?
I was originally given the opportunity, and my guru, she asked me. She didn't even, she wasn't like, you have to do this, but she just asked me. She was like, think it over. You've just completed this, and it was after a show we put on, and the show was a big success that year. And we came back, and she was like, think about it. You're gonna come in every Friday, and you're gonna spend a couple of hours with these kids, and it's gonna be like a mentorship for you. I thought it over, and I was like, if I can pass on anything that I have learned over these past years, it's not only that I'm passing on knowledge and continuing our gharana, but it's also validation for me that I have actually learned something in the past 10 years, that I haven't just done this like without any result as such. Yeah.
And when you say our gharana, that really is that it is like a closed community, right, Akshita?
Yeah. So gharana, you can even gharana basically means your home, right? The home of Kathak, and there are these like 3 different main homes and categories where we define it. And you can even say that your family is your gharana, right? You have a last name, and that's your gharana. So our dance community is like a gharana, our institute's a gharana, and we're very close that way. We're all knitted together by that.
That is so nice and so good to hear. So apart from this Kathak, and you devote every Friday, you're going and teaching this. Would you want to share some special experience or something how you have evolved as a person by becoming a teacher or a mentor, like you said, you're mentoring. So would you like to share something about that?
Yeah, I think I would like to share more about what happened after COVID hit. So COVID happened, and I couldn't go in every Friday because honestly, I was scared about not just contracting the virus myself, but passing it on to my guru. And it was at that point where we were like, okay, we need to make a conscious decision of not going in anymore.
Of course, we had the lockdown also, so we had to the initial time you had to really get used to it. So you were just pushed into that.
But even after lockdown was lifted, and we were like, okay, we can, but I'm scared that I'm
safety is the priority. Exactly.
So we started doing classes through Zoom. And dance through Zoom is not easy by any means. Because I can't see the person sharing sound, audio lag, 30 different things you need to worry about. And so that's where we came in, and my guru was like, she told us, she was like, do you want to still continue teaching? And we had a couple of trial sessions, and I went in, I sat with these kids. Many of these kids I previously know. I've danced with these kids before. They're not much younger than me. So I was sitting with them, and we were like, okay. And their exam was coming up too, but they were in lockdown and they hadn't really prepped for it. So we needed to get a lot of information in them in a very short amount of time. And they were like, we're willing to do this. We're willing to commit to this if you're willing to commit to this. It was that kind of relation that we had to build. And I think we just had to adapt. It wasn't a question of if I would adapt. It was a question of I have to adapt.
Right. So, so then these students, then they appeared for their exam sometime during the COVID, and of course you adapted yourself, and you were able to pass on that your knowledge and information through all these technical anomalies and shortcomings or whatever. And dance is something. I mean, any talent is that way, which needs practice. So, how many hours of practice do you normally put in a day or in a week? I know
So in
everybody
a
will say
week,
not enough, but just still, I would like to know.
honestly, not enough. I think previously I used to religiously do at least 4 to 5 hours a week, religiously. And now that has become religiously one good day a week. Um, I guess I realized that it's quality over quantity types thing right now. I think school's um, my biggest priority, but I still want to keep this in the loop and I don't want to let it go off it at all. So
So
um,
does dance act like a stress buster for you?
it's not just a stress buster. It is a stress buster in that, but it's not just that. I wouldn't just classify that. It's my passion, it's my love. I can't live without it.
Wonderful. It's definitely when you have so much passion, you will pursue it. And when it is intrinsic, all the more why. Is there anything else which you do equally passionately or maybe a little less passionately?
And equally passionately, I also do a lot of painting and I'm into visual arts. I spend 6 hours in a studio every Saturday pursuing my portfolio. Um, I plan to do design in the future. I'm going into the line of product designing, graphic designing. So I'm prepping for that. I'm planning for that. Um, yeah, I only started taking art seriously though, like not just as a hobby. I started taking it very seriously at the end of year 6, year 7, so around 12, 13 years old.
Okay, so the Akshita who's not dancing or not doing anything connected to visual arts, what is she doing?
Currently, she's working on her portfolio, and that portfolio is basically comprised of the next 12 to 20 pieces of paintings I'm going to do. They're all based on um, they're all based on identity and where I come from, my lineage, and I wanted to represent that through art. So it's not just in my dance, but it's also in my art.
So it is pretty fluid, and you have physics as your subject, and that's
Yeah.
why I brought that up. It's been wonderful and very interesting talking to you, Akshita, and I wish you all the very best in all your
Thank
future
you. Thank you
endeavors.
so
But
much.
before you leave, would you like to share some kind of, a personal mantra or something which you keep for yourself and which helps you get the day through, or when your highs and lows, something which can be an inspiration for other people who are looking at a career of art or they're looking to become dancers. Do you have any message for them?
So, one of my friends, actually, one of my really, really old friends, and she's much older than me, and she came up to me and she was showing me this interview. I don't remember exactly when and who said it, but the quote was, "If not now, then when? And if not who? If not you, then who?" And I think that's so indicative of like living in the moment and pursuing what you want and going for your dreams. Because honestly, if you're not going to do it now, if you're not going to pursue it now, like when are you going to pursue it? It's like saying something like I'm going to do something and putting on your task, but like never getting to it.
Right. So that is why I'm so glad that it was now, today, that we decided to cheer the champ. And it was, if not you, then who? Thank you so much, Akshita, on that note. And
Thank
have a
you.
lovely day. And bye. And we'll meet again. And we'll definitely follow your journey. And we look
You
forward to
too.
seeing you on stage with your art or with your dance. And we are there
Yes.
cheering you all the way. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.